Welcome to Tiger Tracks, your home for the best of LSU athletics. And now, your hosts, Jordi Helberg and Bill Frankes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Tiger Tracks. He's Bill Frankes. I'm Jordi Helberg. Hope everybody had a fantastic Easter holiday weekend. And since last we talked, let's see. Tough times for LSU baseball, and I'm really upset with Les Miles.
Why's that?
He didn't bring me back a Havana Cuban cigar after his 5 days in Havana. He didn't bring me back a cigar. Disappointed, Les. I want you to know that.
Exactly. Les is certainly a world traveler.
Yes, he is.
But I remember years ago when he first came to LSU, he spent some time in the Middle East with the U.S. soldiers, and this time he visits Cuba. So he certainly has the opportunity to spread the message of LSU football around the world.
Bringing soccer balls, trying to find a field goal kicker for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
How about that? Coming up on the program today, one of LSU's all-time greats is number 19, retired for all time. Ben McDonald will join us to talk about this LSU baseball team, a young team going through some growing pains right now.
Yes, earlier this week, of course, the Tigers dropped that game to Tulane at the box, and Ben was there. Ben, of course, is the analyst for the SEC Network Plus telecast. He's also an analyst for the SEC Network and ESPN games in their college baseball package. So Ben will give us his perspective on what he's observed about this LSU baseball team.
We look forward to that. We've got a feature on LSU golf and gymnastics, getting ready to go off to the NCAA tournament.
Exactly. The big regional coming up this weekend in Athens. LSU vying for an opportunity to get back into the Super Six.
It's all coming your way next here on Tiger Tracks. Welcome back to Tiger Tracks. It's always great to welcome a legend back to the fray, and he's done a tremendous job now as the color analyst on the SEC Network of SEC College Baseball. Ben McDonald is number 19 right there on the left field wall forever. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Glad to be back with you guys.
You look terrific. You got this weekend, you've got South Carolina and Vanderbilt. That's a heck of a matchup.
It's going to be a really good series because both those clubs are really well, and Vanderbilt, is good as always. And, of course, South Carolina's been the big surprise. They didn't make the tournament last year for the first time in 16 seasons, but they're back with vengeance this year. They're the only club 6-0 in the SEC right now.
All right, let's talk about this LSU baseball team. Just coming off a tough weekend against A&M, who's the number one team in the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're very good. Tulane comes to town, and Palmineri said it's the worst 2 or 3 innings to start a game that he can recall. Let's walk the Tiger fans back off the cliff a little bit. What's going on with this club?
Well, they're young, as we know, and they need the experience, and so LSU is. There's no doubt they're struggling. They're not as bad, I don't think, as what they're playing, though. I think they're better than what they're playing. Listen, they've scored 6 runs now in the last 4 games. Right. That's just not going to work. Probably fortunate to win one of those, 4 games. And so it's a team I think that's going to continue to get better, but it's a team that's going to have to play its best baseball. We knew that going in. We knew that the pitching had to be strong and the defense had to be strong, and we hoped that LSU could score some runs somehow. They've struggled to score runs, and quite frankly, the pitching has not been as good as we thought it would be, and the defense has not been as good yet as we thought it would be. So it's kind of a perfect storm going the wrong way for LSU right now. The good news for them is Auburn's coming this weekend. It's good news, bad news. Auburn is one of the top hitting clubs in the SEC.
Beat Alabama.
They're going to score some runs. The good news for LSU is, pitching-wise, Auburn's not that good. They're the worst club in the SEC. So LSU needs to find a way to win 2 out of 3. Because the way I look at LSU right now is they're going to try to make the tournament. And what's going to get them in the tournament? We know 14 and 16 in the SEC typically will get you in if your RPI and your strength of schedule is pretty good. LSU's strength of schedule and RPI is going to be pretty good this year. So if they can find a way to get to 14 wins in conference play, 15 for sure, they'll get in a regional somewhere. Now I don't think they're going to be a super regional host or a regional host the way they're playing. It could change,
right.
But I don't see that happening for LSU as strong as the conference is right now.
Gotcha.
Ben, looking back at the A&M series, one very encouraging sign was the performance of the starting pitchers. Jared Poche, Alex Lang, and John all had great performances against the SEC's #1 hitting team.
Absolutely.
So how encouraging was that for the starting rotation?
Well, let's talk about John Valek first. He's been a huge surprise for LSU. I mean, he came as a kid who transferred from Akron, who wasn't even supposed to be in the weekend rotation, but because Godfrey transferred, and then
Latz is hurt.
Latz got hurt. Mackay, who had some arm trouble early, was supposed to be in that rotation possibly. He didn't get an opportunity either, and all of a sudden Valek comes in, and he's really been the most consistent starter for LSU, so that's been a big plus for LSU. I did think LSU pitched the ball well. I mean, only gave up 10 or 11 runs against Texas A&M, which is a really good offense, especially at that ballpark. And so they pitched good enough to win that series. Didn't happen for them offensively. So I like Lang's performance. I think it was the Lang that we saw last year. Still the control and command. He's got to cut down on his walk so his pitch count doesn't get up so he can work deeper into ball games. But I did like to see, and Poche, look, everybody's giving Poche a hard. He's Poche. I mean, the guy has been consistent, and he's still got a 2.5, 2.6 ERA. He's good. So I like where the rotation is right now.
The bullpen. Caleb Gilbert seems to be the big surprise as a freshman. What do you like about that big kid?
He's a real deal. I mean, he's a freshman from Hoover, Alabama, and I'm telling you what, he comes in at 92, 94 with a good out pitch, which is his slider. He's good. The problem with that bullpen, Ben, is we have not been able to bridge the gap. It's not been enough consistency down there to get to him, and that's been a little bit of a surprise. Parker Buck had a great outing. I thought it was his best outing of the year last night. He looked really good because he was the guy at the back end of that bullpen last year that was so good.
Right,
you know,
right.
Norman and Newman showed some signs last night, and so I think there's enough there, but I think LSU's going to get it going. It's just they better hurry up and get it going because, listen, they mess around and
That
lose.
hole's getting deep.
Well, you lose 2 out of 3 this weekend to Auburn, all of a sudden you're 3-6 in conference play, and look, you got Vanderbilt coming, you got Ole Miss coming, you got State coming. It's not going to get any easier, so 2 out of 3 is a must this weekend.
All right, let's take a quick timeout. The All-American, the Golden Spikes Award winner, Ben McDonald, will continue the conversation right here, right now on Tiger Tracks on CST.
Tiger Tracks on CST is being brought to you by Capital One Bank, the official bank of all things Louisiana, and by Louisiana Propane Dealers. Get up to $1,200 in rebates on propane accessories. Find out how at louisianapropane.com.
Welcome back to Tiger Tracks alongside Bill Frankes. I'm Jordi Helberg. We continue our conversation with Ben McDonald, who'll be doing television again this weekend for the SEC Network, flat top and all, coat and tie and all. LSU is one of those teams, it's kind of funny because you got to hit them where they're not.
Right.
LSU's hitting it. They don't strike out very often, but they're kind of hitting them where they are.
Right. I mean, that's the silver lining for this LSU offense. While it hasn't been great this year, kind of middle of the road, if you look at their strikeouts as a team, they're the fewest amount of strikeouts in the conference by far. There's nobody within 40 strikeouts. So LSU doesn't strike out a lot. It puts the ball in play. Mm-hmm. And if the baseball gods start to shine on LSU a little bit, they'll find a way where some of those balls eventually start to find holes in some big situations. Because we know, I think, at A&M, they were 3 for 26 or 29 runners in scoring position. They were putting the ball in play, but they were hitting it right to people. So maybe, just maybe, and I think it will, that will start to equal out over the course of a 30-game SEC schedule.
Not to interrupt, but what can you do? Because it seems to me it puts a whole lot of pressure on that pitching staff to keep it close, game in, game out, inning after inning. What do you do?
That's a big, that's a huge point because I've been there before, and as a pitcher, when I go out there and I feel like every pitch can mean the game for me, that it's literally that, because I know my offense is struggling, and I know if I make one mistake and I hang this one breaking ball and guy hits it for a 2-run homer, the game could be over. Yeah. And so it just compounds everything. And for a guy like Alex Lang, who's been struggling a little bit, man, I know he feels like the weight of everything is on his shoulders. So that's really tough. I'd like to see LSU's offense maybe bust out early in a ball game and let these guys kind of relax a little bit, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think it will at some point in time, and I think all this is going to equal out. And I think we're going to see LSU, this young team, it will get better as the season goes on. Okay. They're just in one of those funks right now. They got to work their way out of it. And I think it's up to the coaches now to keep a positive attitude and say, guys, this is tough. Let's keep plugging along. This thing's going to turn around for us, and we got to keep these young guys in a positive situation, and I think they'll be fine. Okay.
Ben, what do you see over the entire college baseball landscape? Of course, we know the SEC nationally is right there. A&M, Florida, Vanderbilt, and now South Carolina. All those teams, literally top 5 teams. Just give us your thoughts on the way this might play out?
Well, I mean, if you go down to Florida, you just need to start right there. They're the only starting rotation on the weekend that has 3 first-round draft picks in that starting rotation. That says enough about Florida. And then if you go over, they got about 3 or 4 more guys, position players, you know, J.J. Schwartz and others who's going to be first-rounders too. So for me, they're the most talented team in the country with 7 first-round draft picks. I think Florida's that good. If Florida doesn't win the national championship, I think it's a disappointment for them because they've been 4 of the last 6 years to Omaha. Yeah. They've been a national seed the last 5. I mean, they're really good. It's time for Florida to finally win one. If they're going to win one, O'Sullivan had better win it this year. South Carolina's a big surprise. Didn't make the playoffs last year for the first time in 16 years. They hit 257 as a team last year, which was dead last, but they have made some improvement with some junior college guys have come in, and they're monsters right now. Their starting rotation is 16-1 with an ERA below 2 is what their starting pitchers are doing. They're really good in all facets. Vanderbilt just reloaded. I mean, Vanderbilt had 3 first-rounders last year. They got 3 more this year and a couple more sitting on the bench, and so they're very talented too. And in Texas A&M, while I like their offense, and I think they're a really good club, I don't like their pitching quite as much as I like Vanderbilt's and Florida's and some of the others, maybe South Carolina's that's out there. You know, Miami seems to be playing well if you get out of the SEC, and so it's going to be a grind again, you know, and I really think the SEC, I'll be shocked if there's not, you know, 3 or 4 teams in Omaha again this year.
Ben, let me ask you, your jersey's retired. Skip Bertman's is retired. Yeah. You're getting some company.
Yes.
Easy Eddie Furnace is going to have his jersey retired.
Good to see. Long overdue. Eddie Furnace, man, if you go back and look at the numbers he put up when he was at LSU, still holds, you know, most of the LSU hitting records and national records. Yeah. He's in the top 5 and so many and even better than that. And so it was time for Eddie Furnace. He was a heck of a player at LSU, and good to see that. I'll actually be here that weekend doing the state series in LSU, so
I'll be
his
there
number?
For there. I forgot.
36.
36.
Yeah.
We could use him in the middle of the lineup.
You could use that monster in there, that's for sure.
Take that ball out the yard, make things easy.
That's right.
Jeez. Well, Ben, we thank you so much for your time. As always, continued success
thank you.
In the broadcasting booth.
My pleasure, yeah.
If you need any ties, let me know.
I'll do it.
I'll
do it.
Ben McDonald, thank you. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with more men's golf when we return here on Tiger Tracks. Welcome back to Tiger Tracks. We now focus on golf. Chuck Winstead and his men's golf team, the defending national champions. It's time to think about postseason. It's coming right around the corner in April.
It is mid-April. LSU will be playing in the SEC championships, and of course, later on to the NCAA tournament to defend their national championship. LSU ranked number 17 in the nation right now, but coming off a big performance, winning a tournament at LSU by 25 strokes. Wow. So the team appears to be rounding into shape as we move toward the postseason. Garrett Walvert had a chance to visit with the Tigers. Let's watch.
Coming off an historic 2015 season, which saw the Tigers win a Southeastern Conference title as well as the NCAA championship, LSU continues to pile up the hardware in Baton Rouge. Chuck Winstead's team returns 3 All-SEC performers from last season and welcomes a talented crop of freshmen who are cracking the lineup. Senior Zach Wright returns after carding 9 top 20 finishes last year and is LSU's stroke leader in 2016. The former #1 recruit from the state of Arizona, Wright has already won 2 tournament titles this season and is averaging a team-low 71 on the golf course. Junior Brandon Pierce is back after earning All-American honors, as well as the Louisiana Collegiate Player of the Year award in 2015. Pierce broke David Tom's school record by averaging a 71.16 stroke average for the season, carding 3 top 10 finishes. Fellow junior Eric Ricard also earned All-American honors in 2015, lowering his stroke average from 75 to 72. The only Tiger to appear in all 12 tournaments, Ricard helped LSU earn the program's 16th SEC championship and 5th national title. Freshman phenom Sam Burns has been sensational in year 1, averaging a 72 and contributing as a starter. The Shreveport native was the nation's #1 overall recruit out of Calvary Baptist, where he was a 3-time state champion. Burns participated on the Junior Ryder Cup in 2014 and was the Rolex Junior Player of the Year as a senior in high school. Luis Gagne wasn't far behind Burns in the national rankings, earning praise as the #16 overall recruit for 2015. Gagne comes to the program from Orlando, Florida, where he was also a high school state champion. LSU hosted the Tiger Classic this week, welcoming 5 schools to Baton Rouge for a one-day, 36-hole tournament. Winstead's team got off to a fast start and never let up. 3 Tigers tied atop the leaderboard at 1 under par for the tourney, including lone senior Zach Wright. Wright led all players with 9 birdies, earning his 2nd tournament title of the season. Luis Gagne and Eric Ricard also tied for the lowest score, with Gagne showcasing his consistent stroke, shooting par on 27 holes. Ricard shot 6 birdies and hit par on 25 holes. LSU actually claimed the top 4 spots on the leaderboard, with Sam Burns shooting even par after 2 rounds at the U Club. Burns carded 7 birdies, earning the first top 5 finish of his collegiate career. There were quality opponents in the field for the Tiger Classic, but LSU still dominated, winning the tournament by 25 strokes. 6 of the top 8 finishers were Tigers, and LSU claimed its 3rd team title of the season. The combination of Winstead and assistant coach Garrett Runyon has created a championship atmosphere at LSU. The program is qualified for back-to-back Final Fours at the NCAA Championships and brought home the first national title in 60 years to LSU. Now the Tigers prepare for their final regular season invitational at Texas A&M, followed by the SEC Championships in Georgia. For more information on the LSU men's golf team, log on to lsusports.net. Reporting for Tiger Tracks, I'm Garrett Walbert.
I thank you, Garrett, very much. I can remember so vividly watching the golf on television. They caught that electricity in the bottle. Thank God for television and all the venues, because what a great story it was a year ago, and we wish Chuck and them good luck this year as well.
He's got a great core of returning players from last year, leaders on the team like Zach Wright and Eric Ricard, and freshman sensations like Sam Burns. So the future of LSU golf is very bright, and hopefully we'll see them contending for another title in just a couple of weeks.
The future of gymnastics is bright. That story when we return.
Tiger Tracks on CST is being brought to you by Capital One Bank, the official bank of all things Louisiana, and by Louisiana Propane Dealers. Get up to $1,200 in rebates on propane accessories. Find out how at louisianapropane.com.
We're back here on Tiger Tracks. Bill Franquez, I'm Jordi Helberg. This Saturday at 3 o'clock, the NCAA Athens Regional for Gymnastics will begin. Dee Bro and her team will try to survive and advance to become members of the Super Six.
Exactly. LSU hoping to advance to the NCAA Finals, which would be taking place in Dallas-Fort Worth this year, a place where LSU has already competed to familiarize themselves with the venue. If they finish in the top 2 in the regional this weekend, they'll advance to the big dance for NCAA Gymnastics. Let's take a look as the Tigers are getting ready for this weekend's regional.
A little bit of pressure, a little build back up, but we don't want to be fatigued going into regionals because the emotion spent, there's 6 teams at this, so you've got 2 byes. So the emotion and the energy spent at the competition is tremendous, especially with the pressure of the practice day in front of it. So we'll travel on Thursday, get there in the evening, and kind of relax. We don't practice till early in the afternoon. So we'll train kind of light today, a little bit light tomorrow, and then Wednesday have a pretty high pressure, hopefully a lot of emotion inter-squad, and be ready to go.
Last week we came in and had a great week of practice and topped it all off with an awesome inter-squad, and it really was a confidence builder, and we were able to come in here and work and fix a few things in execution and small stuff like that. So this week is just going to be like any other week, coming into practice and fixing up a few more small things before we head to regionals.
I would say that we're definitely well rested, and I think that we're prepared mentally and physically to go. I think that after SECs, we've just kind of had a fire underneath us, and I think that we've been preparing this way in practice, and I think that we're ready to get back out on the competition floor.
This past week has been great. We were really anticipating spring break. I think it was really nice just, having downtime and having practice and then being able to lay out by our pool and all that. I think it was a good time.
Lexi Priestman and Sarah Finnegan are certainly mainstays in our lineup, and we really rely on them as much as we rely on Ashley Nat, Aaron Mekadek, and it's an amazing thing what Maya Hambrick has been able to do as an all-arounder all season long as a first-year all-arounder. So it's a real balancing act, and it's been a fun ride for the team as well as for the staff.
it's a major factor in our team this year. The way that we've bonded together, us having so many freshmen, we were able to bring them in and show them this is how we do things at LSU Gymnastics, and they were so great, all 5 of them. They've just really opened their arms and embraced our culture and the way that we do things here, and it's really just created a special bond between all of us that really sets us apart.
You know, I think just through this whole season, it's a long season, and especially as freshmen, we're not used to competing every weekend, and so just having spring break and then a bye week, which it was really great for us. So now we're just ready to go for this weekend.
We talk about that with our team, and we talk about the pride and the tradition of the LSU Tigers, and I think that it's something that this team has begun to take like vitamins. So, you know, our time will come. We want to win regionals and go in as a 1 seed going into the championship round, or the preliminary, then the championship round with momentum.
The win is always our goal. Going in there knowing that we're capable of winning, no doubt, and just this is a meet to build our confidence for nationals as well. And if you're just going to place in the top 2, then you're setting yourself up for a few mistakes rather than saying like we've got this and knowing that we can come out on top no matter who we're competing against.
Yes, I did a single return at SECs. I kind of crunched my ankle a couple days before, so it was really swollen. So it kind of like just hurt squatting down on it, and I was having trouble with it during warm-ups. And so Dee was just like, "Hey, you know, it's not worth it. You still get the same value. It's fine if you just want to do a full turn." And so I was like, "Yeah, I'll just do a full."
Wow. Right, I would say that there's definitely a burning desire. We want to win. That's always the goal, to go in there and just dominate every single team that we're competing against. There's, like I said before, we're not going to let down. We're not going to slow down. We're going to push forward and continue to dominate as much as we can.
Welcome back to Tiger Tracks, and good luck to Dee Bro and all those All-Americans, Ashley Natt and company. Good luck in Athens, Georgia. A big weekend. The Tigers baseball are on the road, right, but the LSU Football Coaches Clinic is here, and that means Brett Favre coming to town.
Yeah, how about that? That's an annual event.
Favre, what is it?
Yeah.
Favre.
An annual event held at the LSU Football Complex. The guest speakers this year are Brett Favre, the NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, and Marcus Spears of LSU. Of course, Marcus is an All-American defensive end here for the Tigers, played in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys, and now he's an accomplished broadcaster, one of the top analysts on the SEC network. Spends a lot of time with Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Marcus will be here, so we're looking forward to seeing those guys back at LSU for the Coaches Clinic. There'll be high school coaches from all over the country.
About 500 of them.
Yeah, converging upon LSU to learn more about how the Tigers are so successful in the Les Miles era.
You followed baseball a long time. Sometimes it's just one at bat, one inning can turn this thing around, and that's what we're hoping for with LSU.
Yes, absolutely. The Tigers will be hitting the road on Thursday, busing over to Auburn. Game 1 will be Friday night at 6 o'clock. Okay. We'll play Game 2 Saturday at 3 and Game 3 Sunday at 1. And as Ben just discussed with us, hopefully a series victory gets LSU back into the thick of the SEC race.
For Bill Franquez, I'm Jordi Helberg. It's the Final Four weekend, then the Masters, and LSU keeps on rolling on. We'll be back next week, same time, same station. So until then, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Tiger Tracks.